Hey, welcome to my first road vlog. I am so glad you're here, tuning in and listening, and ultimately, I'm excited to finally get this thing kicked off and going, but it didn't come without its hiccups. So, a little background about this first video, this first vlog. I intended it to be an actual road vlog where I'm talking to you while I'm actually riding around. And it turns out I didn't have my mic hooked up correctly. I'm still trying to figure out how my mic hooks up to my camera and how it works while I'm talking from within my helmet. And during that whole process, I lost all the audio. The only thing you could hear was my motorcycle from the camera. I know, classic rookie move. I'm still new to this whole vlogging thing, and everything has a learning curve, and I think I'm slowly starting to figure it out. Slowly, I guess.
You can do it!
But anyway, it's a rainy day outside, and as much as I love hitting the road, I don't like to ride around when the weather's acting up. So instead of sulking around my place about not being able to ride, I figured, why not chat with you about the ride I took this day? Really kick off this channel, introduce myself, talk to you about what was going through my mind while I was cruising, some of the thoughts I had, and answer some questions that I've received since I started riding motorcycles. Essentially, this is going to be a recap of the conversation I had with myself. Now, you might be wondering, why are you doing this? And it's a good question. I've been watching a bunch of road vlogs since I started riding, and I've really vibed with the perspectives and the joy folks have in sharing their rides. It inspired me to give it a shot myself, not just to talk about the ride, but to open up space for conversation and content. I'm hoping that this vlog, future videos, and I guess just this channel in general becomes something you enjoy tuning into. Whether you agree with me or not, and I mean seriously, disagreement is cool and I welcome it, but let's just try to keep it respectful. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your perspectives on anything I talk about. If you've got ideas for future episodes or content, I'm all ears. It doesn't even have to be about motorcycles. We could just talk about life. What's going on in your world? What random, odd, obscure question do you have? Whatever angle this takes, whatever direction it goes, I'm along for the ride. One thing I will say, let's circle back to the respectful part, is no hate, no trolling. I mean, I know there's always going to be that person, but I'm really trying to build this as a community, a space to joke around, reflect, learn a new thing or two, possibly, and I guess just see the world through somebody else's lens. If you've got a different point of view, that's awesome. Maybe the answer is somewhere between your perspective and mine, but if you come in swinging with belligerence, it's just not going to work, and in general, it shouldn't be how you go about getting your point across to people. It just makes them defensive, and even if you have a really good point of view, they've just tuned you out at that point. So anyway, here we go. Let's dive into this chat, this vlog. Let's talk about what was rolling around my mind while the wheels were turning. So it's raining outside. I got coffee in front of me. Let's get these thoughts out, and ultimately, let's ride. Like I said, before we get too deep into anything, I figured it's probably appropriate I actually introduce myself properly. So here we go. My name's Jeremy. I'm in my late 30s and I'm from South Central Pennsylvania. I grew up around the Gettysburg area. You know, that Gettysburg. Civil War, battlefield, Lincoln's address. If you're not from the United States, maybe you didn't study it, but if you get the chance, it's actually a really heavy part of our history. But this area that I live in and grew up in just has that classic small town USA vibe all the way. I actually grew up on a horse farm, which was, let's say, a mix of fun and hard work. Like any kid, I wasn't necessarily thrilled about chores, especially when they involved shoveling stuff I didn't really want to be shoveling. But looking back now, I'd have to say I'm grateful for it. That farm life really built up my work ethic, and I pride myself on that today. And honestly, looking back, my house was kind of the spot to be within my friend group. We'd have bonfires, camping, play games, go swimming, biking, hiking. It was just a great place to grow up, even if I didn't fully appreciate it at the time. A little more about me, full dose of Jeremy here. Just got to warn you, my cockatoo might decide to chime in. Yes, that's right. I live with a feathered jungle chicken who enjoys giving unsolicited commentary. If you ever hear shrieking in the background, and you might have noticed it during the introduction part of this video, don't panic. Nobody's dying. That's just my bird auditioning for a guest spot for a future vlog, I guess. I also have 2 cats. They sleep most of the day. They're basically judges in furry robes, silently critiquing my life choices and only showing up when they want food. Some hobbies that I enjoy. I love working out. I'm not here trying to look like a Marvel superhero by any means, but I mean, let's be honest. If I woke up with Thor's abs, chest, and biceps one day, I wouldn't necessarily complain. But no, I like to work out for my health. I have some fun family genetics in the mix, such as high blood pressure, and so I like to stay ahead of the curve. And at the end of the day, I feel good doing it. I'm into gaming. I built a shiny new PC last year, which was top tier for about all of 5 minutes before tech evolved and made it outdated again. But I'm not tied to just PC gaming. I also game on consoles as well, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch 2 that I just recently got. Either way, I'm here for the games. I have a huge passion for cooking. It runs deep in my family. My grandma was an excellent cook. My mom followed suit. And now I'm out here trying to keep the legacy alive. I've worked in restaurants for nearly 2 decades, including some fine dining spots where garnishes had more personality than some of the people I met. But I love experimenting with food, obsessing over getting that flavor just right, and watching people light up when they try what I've made. I have no formal training, no culinary school background, but I do have some harsh food critics in my friend and family group that tell me that I've actually got some serious skills. And going along with that, I obviously love to try new restaurants. If it's weird, spicy, or looks like it was conjured by a mad scientist, I mean, I'm all in. Food is an art, in my opinion, and I'm here to appreciate every brushstroke. And finally, I guess nature. I grew up on a farm, so I have a soft spot for the outdoors. Like I said, hiking, biking, water adventures, sneaky explorations into abandoned places. Basically, if it requires sturdy shoes and a flashlight, I'm game. So yeah, guess that's me, wrapped up in a little bundle, a very loud, caffeinated, pet-filled, recipe-perfecting nutshell. But enough about me. Let's shift the gears here and let's talk about what really matters, what you're seeing in the video, and what I'm excited to talk about today. Let's get into the motorcycling itself, the ride, the vibes, the action. All right, here we go. So let's address the obvious question. What got me into motorcycles, right? Well, that spark started when I was young. I used to ride around the farm on dirt bikes with a neighbor kid, just messing around, having fun. But when it came to riding on the open road, I'll be real with you. I was timid, because of people. People are unpredictable. It was intimidating to me at first. But fast forward to around a year ago, I decided to give it a real shot. I thought, why not? You only live once, right? I kept asking myself, do I want to get to the end of the road, literally and figuratively, and wish I'd experienced more? So I went for it. Got my own bike, earned my motorcycle license, and I've been hooked ever since. It's not just a ride, it's a freedom and clarity and a way to reconnect with myself and the road. So let's address the obvious question. The question I get whenever I tell people that I ride motorcycles. What bike do I ride? The answer is, I have a 2025 Yamaha R7 in Yamaha blue. I love that deep, delicious blue. It caught my eye like a dessert tray at a cheat day buffet. I couldn't walk away from it. It's my favorite color. I'm a sucker for darker blues, so call it color therapy or motorcycle matchmaking. It was just perfect for me. Now, when I was shopping around, I wanted something with enough power to feel the thrill, but not so much that I was out here signing up for unintentional flight school. I didn't want to be that person clutching the bars whispering, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. I wanted something thrilling, but not launch yourself into space powerful. The R7 just hit that sweet spot. It's around 689 cc, so not too much, not too little. I guess you can say it's Goldilocks approved. Just to throw it out there, by the way, this is totally my personal take on the R7 so far, and I have very limited experience in the motorcycle world. I haven't test ridden a ton of bikes or anything, and yeah, I know some folks rave about the Ducati, calling it the Ferrari of sports bike, but dropping that kind of cash on my first bike just didn't feel right to me. Yamaha just seemed like the perfect mix of performance and price, and it just felt like a smart move, especially for what I was looking for in a bike. And I just love the sports bikes. I knew I wanted to get a sports bike. I mean, they're sleek, they're fast, they look cooler than I'll ever be, but let me tell you, one thing I did learn pretty quickly is after a few hours, that seat starts feeling like a medieval punishment device. I feel it in my ass.
That's what she said.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I've tried the padded undergarments, cute idea in theory. Still, it felt like I was going butt first into a brick wall at highway speed. So I've been eyeballing some custom seat ideas that I've been seeing on Instagram. So if anyone out there knows a company they recommend that could make a custom padded seat, feel free to drop it in the comments and let me know. Let's save the glutes. Eventually, once I pay off this beautiful beast, I might look into getting a cruiser, something along those lines for longer chill rides, something I can take on a day trip without mentally preparing like I'm entering a squats challenge. But don't worry, I don't have any plans on giving up my R7. I still like to go fast, responsibly fast, fast-ish, one might say, but not without the occasional adrenaline spike. So this one's for my fellow bikers, because this is where I get this question from. Have I done any modifications to my bike? Oh yeah, I've definitely modded it. It started out as a few tweaks, then turned into a mild wallet crisis, but I think I'm done. For now, I hope. I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. I'll actually be showcasing everything in an upcoming video or short, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. But let's start off with my favorite part, the exhaust. I did a full system swap and went with a Toshi exhaust. Toshi. You think I would have learned how to pronounce that company. But anyway, it gives it that throaty growl. It's absolute music to my ears, and I think rivals the roar of a Harley. Just don't tell the Harley people. It definitely turns heads when you're riding by. It's loud, it's aggressive, and honestly, it's really addicting. Other upgrades, I installed a fender eliminator kit, which cleans up the tail section and integrates the lights super nicely. I also switched out the front turn signals to make them flush mounted to give it that sleek look. Simple things like a phone mount because of, I need GPS, my music playlist, and everyone else is driving on their phones. Why not join the club? Okay, but seriously, please don't drive while you're on your phone. Anyway, I swapped out the clear stock windshield for a black one. I threw on some frame sliders and handlebar sliders for a little bit of extra protection just in case I drop it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my current setup. Like I said, I'll go over the specific brands and where I grabbed everything in a future video. So if you're into bikes or just want to see how it all came together, make sure you follow the channel and stay tuned for that future video. But that's my bike in a nutshell. It's fast, blue, slightly painful for the long rides, but totally worth it. One last little part about this ride was obviously where was I going? You might not have asked, but I'm going to tell you. This ride took us through the scenic heart of Pennsylvania with a little twist of nuclear intrigue. 3 Mile Island. Now, if that name sends a chill down your spine, you're not alone. 3 Mile Island, which is located just outside of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, was the site of the most serious accident in U.S. commercial nuclear power history. Back on March 28, 1979, the Unit 2 reactor experienced a partial meltdown. Radioactive gases and iodine were released into the environment, and the surrounding area held its breath. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite the ominous headlines, actual environmental impact was surprisingly minimal. The International Nuclear Event Scale rated it at a level 5, which is accident with wider consequences. It does sound intense, right? But most of the fission products released weren't solid at room temperature. Contamination outside the facility was barely measurable. The EPA did jump into action and sampled the environment daily at stations close to the plant, and their conclusion was that the radiation levels didn't rise high enough to cause even one additional cancer death. Soil samples, deer tissue samples from up to 50 miles away yielded the same story, which was no significant spikes in iodine-131 or cesium-137. So, while the incident was a wake-up call for nuclear safety, it wasn't the radioactive apocalypse that some had feared. Now, growing up around this area, I'd always heard whispers of the meltdown. My parents had talked about it. I learned a little bit about it in school. I'd even seen the twin cooling towers from a distance while driving through Harrisburg, but I never really adventured up that close. Well, that changed with this ride. When I hopped on my bike, I had a purpose for the ride, wanting to see the 3 Mile Island area. I started, I guess, at my house, but then I ventured over to Marietta, which is located in Lancaster County, and followed River Road north. Let me tell you, this route is a little hidden gem. It hugs the Susquehanna River like a lazy snake, winds past farmland, river views, and gives you the occasional whiff of Lancaster's waste-to-energy facility. Yeah, it's not Chanel number 5, but hey, I guess it's part of the charm for the ride, I guess. I don't know. As I approached a small community of Falmouth, Pennsylvania, 3 Mile Island came into view, and there's definitely something surreal about seeing those towers up close, monuments to a moment in history that changed how we think about energy and safety and the environment. And the ride itself was smooth, had low traffic, and was perfect for a laid-back cruise. I'd definitely do it again, maybe with a few pit stops to explore some of the parks and trails along the way. It's the kind of ride that reminds you why you love motorcycling, which is the freedom, scenery, and just a dash of curiosity. So, whether you're a history nerd, a nature lover, or just someone looking for a great ride, 3 Mile Island and the surrounding area delivers more than just nuclear nostalgia. It's a journey through time, wrapped in Pennsylvania's natural beauty. And being a history nerd myself, I always find it surreal to travel through and to places where life-changing events have happened, or in this case, could have happened. So this last part of the video, I really wanted to answer some questions, and I was really hoping for them to be viewer questions. And so I posted a video on my channel and on my social media, really hoping to generate some questions and some talking points, but the response was humbling. I got 0 comments. Nada. I mean, I get it. My channel's still very new. I'm just getting this thing off the ground, and it's going to take time to build up that base viewership. So until then, not wanting to ditch this segment, I figured why not answer some questions that I've gotten in real life, whether it's from family, friends, just some random people that I've met. So these are where these questions have come from, and kind of these are the most popular ones that I always get. So the first one is, have I ever gotten scared while riding? And yes, I'd be lying if I said no. I mean, at this point, I do trust my skills, but there's one thing you can't control, and that's the unknown. And that's why I always tell people that are interested in pursuing getting a motorcycle and their license is take your state's motorcycle safety course. I mean, if you're in Pennsylvania like me, it's free, even the advanced courses, so why not jump on that opportunity? And it's not just about passing the test and getting your license, it's about building instincts, developing that muscle memory, and staying sharp with your skills. I mean, even if you're a seasoned rider, brushing up on your skills can make the difference in one of those scary situations. I mean, we sometimes get into this false sense of security, even in our own four-wheeled vehicles, where we think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. I've been driving for so many years, but then something does happen, and then you start playing those scenarios through your head. What could I have done differently? Was it their fault? Was it my fault? And when you're on a motorcycle, you don't have protection. You don't have airbags. You know, it's just you. So you need to be fresh on those skills. So if something does happen, you know what to do in that situation. And part of it goes into just being smart while you're out there. So, and what I mean by this is, for example, if I see a car waiting to turn onto the road that I'm traveling, I don't assume that they see me. I actually assume that they don't. And I start running those scenarios through my head. What if they pull out? What is my exit strategy if they do? Should I maybe back off the throttle now to give myself a little bit of a braking buffer? That kind of mental prep helps you stay one step ahead of the unexpected. I mean, we hope it doesn't happen, but let's be honest, you're out there with the unknown. Something can and will happen eventually. This next question I thought was a fun one. Do I ever see the crash videos online or the videos of aggressive drivers, and doesn't that freak you out? So let's start with the crash videos. I mean, they can be tough to watch sometimes, but I try to take them as a learning tool. I break them down, ask what went wrong, who was at fault, and most importantly, how could that accident have been avoided, or what would I have done differently? And then with the aggressive drivers, honestly, I try not to jump to conclusions. Sure, there are some hotheads out there, but sometimes we don't see what led up to those moments. Was something cut out of the video? What did the rider do before the aggression flared up? It's something worth thinking about. Social media isn't just a window into someone's life. It's a mirror that they get to polish and position however they want. And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I want to increase views. But when people share posts or videos, they're often sharing a version of a reality that fits their narrative, whether it's an influencer promoting a lifestyle or someone venting about an incident. It's seeing what they chose to show us, not necessarily the full story. That's why I always say, look beyond the post. Ask what happened before the camera started rolling, or was something cut out of the clip? What context are we missing? What perspectives weren't included in this video? And this definitely matters, especially when the content sparks outrage or pushes a specific point of view. We tend to scroll past the edited moments thinking they're complete truths, when in reality, they're just fragments. And without the missing context, our opinions can be shaped by half of the story. It's about not dismissing what we see online, but it's about engaging with it critically. Be curious, ask questions, and don't just accept every video or caption at face value. The bottom line is we can learn from these clips how to stay calm, how to avoid those scenarios, how to handle tense drivers without escalating things further. And I mean, I don't want to get preachy, but at the end of the day, we all operate powerful machines. Whether it's a motorcycle or a car, these aren't just toys. They're potential weapons when they're misused. Yet too often, drivers and riders alike, we get lulled into this false sense of security or the sense of being in a bubble, or we're wrapped in my protective gear when we're on our motorcycle. But real life doesn't come with crash-proof padding. One mistake can end a life or shatter a family. That's why we all need to drive and ride with more accountability out there. Every person on the road has someone who loves them, someone they need to get home to, even if it's just a pet. Reckless riding or driving doesn't just endanger yourself, it turns everyday roads into danger zones for everyone. And we owe each other better than that when we're out there. But that being said, it also might help if you would just fucking go! Just drive! Hit the skinny pedal on the right. You idiot.
Idiot.
See, I have road rage just like you. I'll be honest with myself. All right, enough kidding around. Anyway, back to my point. I also feel like I should address the fellow motorcyclists out there. Specifically, let's talk about those riders out there who treat the public streets like a racetrack. The ones you see weaving through traffic, lane splitting where it's illegal, blasting past the speed limit markers. That kind of selfish riding doesn't just put lives at risk. It sabotages the biker community in general. It feeds into negative stereotypes and makes other drivers more hostile towards other motorcyclists, and it ruins that respect that is hard earned by the safe and responsible riders out there. Motorcycling should be about freedom, not recklessness. It's about respect, not rebellion. If you're going to share the road, you better be willing to share the responsibility. Okay, enough of my rant. Let's go on to the next question. So, what do I love most about riding? I could spend a while on this. I'll try to simplify it. The freedom. There's just something special about it. It's just you and the machine, feeling the wind, smelling the environment around you. You just feel connected to the world in a way you don't when you're inside a car. And then there's the people, the community, the interactions you have, from pulling up to a stranger rider at a stoplight, to people rolling down their windows to talk to you, that kid giving you the Revit hand signal. I'll be honest, I love all those little moments. And especially because I got a loud exhaust and watching someone's face light up when I hit the throttle, I mean, it just gets me every time. This one story I have that, sticks in my mind is I was riding home from work and I pull up next to the school bus. And it looked like it was packed with a school team. I don't know what age they were. But anyway, as I got close, I noticed a bunch of them were sticking their arms out the windows, waving, doing the rev the engine signal. So, full on the hype, pulled up next to the bus and just revved it as loud as I could get it. And even with the sound of my bike, I could still hear the bus explode with cheers, even over the music in my helmet, everything else going on. It just made me laugh for a while. And it's just one of those moments that you're like, okay, that was a cool moment. And major shout out and sincerest apologies to whoever the bus driver was. I know they're just trying to get the kids from point A to point B without added chaos. But I mean, in that moment, it was worth it. Come on. And what's kind of amazing? It's just those total random moments between strangers. Like, you don't even know each other, and you probably never will, but for a few seconds, you were just in sync. It might be a shared laugh, a compliment, a little wave from someone walking by, and it just sticks with you. You're just out there living your day, and suddenly this tiny interaction happens, and for whatever reason, it just hits. You smile, you laugh about it later. It's just wild how small moments like this can feel so warm. Like, we are just human and we just had a little connection. It just makes you realize that sometimes the best parts of your day aren't the ones that are planned. It's the ones that just randomly happen. Back to a serious one here. Have I ever been caught in a dangerous situation? Oh yeah, there's been a couple that scared me a little bit when they happened. This first one I'll talk about, I did get this one on film and it's on one of my shorts, so if you want to go find it. But basically, I like to record my commutes to and from work. And so this one, just a typical day on my way home, and then out of nowhere, there's this dude just walking right down the middle of the street in my lane, facing traffic. There's no sidewalk, there's no crosswalk where he was at, just dead center down the lane like it was his own personal road. Anyway, I couldn't tell what his deal was. Was he going to try to grab me, knock me off the bike? Was he going to try just keep walking like I didn't even exist? I didn't know. In that moment, I swear it felt like time slowed down a little bit as I tried to grapple with what his intent could have been. I eased off the throttle, I slowed down and went around him. Heart was racing. I mean, I could just feel it in my chest. It was that kind of adrenaline spike where you don't know if you're overreacting or if something serious was about to go down. And I'll be real, people can really be unpredictable. 1 second, you're just enjoying your ride, and then the next, you're calculating escape routes in your head. The whole thing was sketchy enough. I just had to post it. I remember replaying that in my head over the next few miles and just thinking, what the hell was that? What happened back there? Another time, I'll try to explain this the best that I can. So it was coming up to a red light. And there was one of the ones where the right lane turned right, the middle went straight, and then the left lane turned left. I was pulling up behind a car. We were in the left lane to turn left, and the vehicles that were stopped already at the light in the middle lane in the right turn lane had stopped to let somebody out from a connecting road. And the vehicle wanted to turn left, but it wasn't a vehicle. It was another rider, and he just jetted out, didn't slowly make his way out to check traffic, just jetted out. And he jetted in front of the car that was in front of me, pulling up to the light to go left, and that car had to slam on its brakes and barely missed hitting him. I had to hit mine too, and let's just say my balls took the full force of that panic stop. Just freaking brutal. And these things just happen so fast. You don't have time to, plan those types of scenarios. And that's why, again, always stay alert, constantly read your surroundings, because sometimes you don't get to make those second chances. And then this last question I'll end on is one I get from fellow riders out there, and it is, where is your favorite place to ride? And honestly, it's the back roads all day. I mean, sure, riding fast on the highway is cool, but then you've got people there, lots of people driving on their cell phones.
Idiot.
And then there's traffic and stress. And it's just like, hey, can I just ride without playing Dodge the Idiot today? So now just give me a good back road where it's just me, the countryside, and the occasional sketchy dirt path that makes me question my life choices. I may have been talking about an actual event where I had no idea where I was going to end up, the type of road where there's no markings of gravel ahead, no signs, and road turns to dirt, and you're wondering, am I trespassing right now? Is someone going to come out of that barn with a pitchfork or a gun? Anyway, I just love that feeling of exploration. No, I've ridden down roads I've stared at, always curious where they went. And sometimes I'll just turn off my GPS and wander, full on adventure mode at that point. In worst case scenario, I flip it back on and it gets me home. Technology is great, right? But man, I just the things I've seen, random lakes, old barns, covered bridges, animals just vibing out in the field. It's like stepping into your own slice of life you wouldn't notice if you were just sticking to the main roads. So back roads are my favorite. They're unpredictable, they're peaceful, and occasionally slightly terrifying, but they make for the best stories. And like that one time, I didn't know if I was on a road or someone's driveway. Alrighty, folks, I think that's a wrap for today. Thanks a ton for hanging out with me while I introduced myself, rambled a little bit about my home life and animals, and definitely about my motorcycle. I answered some questions and took you for a ride out to 3 Mile Island, which thankfully did not melt down while filming. I had a blast chatting. I mean, even if my audio setup was still a little bit more experimental than a polished road vlog, fingers crossed that next time I'll have my mic hooked up to the camera properly. But hey, I had time to kill on this rainy day, and I'm glad I put it towards something productive rather than just sitting and doom scrolling on TikTok or Facebook. But let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment. Let me know what you loved, hated, or just mildly tolerated. Let me know what you want to see next time. And seriously, ask me anything. If you want your questions to be answered, motorcycle questions, life questions, weird shower thoughts, I don't know. I'm at that stage of existence where I'll just start answering stuff with zero qualifications, but I will give it maximum enthusiasm. So is this going to be helpful? Maybe. Is it entertaining? I mean, I hope. Will it get you laughing or thinking? I mean, that's ultimately the goal. So if you like this little bit of chaos, hit that like, share it with your fellow curious souls, smash the subscribe button. I mean, I'd love to keep building this little community of curious kind and possibly mildly confused humans. Anyway, thanks again for riding along, literally and figuratively. And if you're a fellow rider, don't forget, ride safe, ride weird, and have fun out there. Hey, I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.